Welcome back to the Cannabis Podcast. And in this video, we're going to take a look at the surprising link between cannabis and better orgasms, how weed can improve your sex life. Before we get into this article, please like, share, and subscribe with all your friends, both male and female, to help grow this and beat the algorithm overlords. I appreciate you being here, and thanks again. Now, about this article, it's not what you think it is. This article and this video are geared and focused to the ladies, to the female audience, which is actually only 15% of our podcast. 15% of our podcast viewers are females. Now, I'd like that to go up, not because I want you to watch the videos because you're a lady, but because it's about cannabis and how it can help you as a human. So I appreciate you being here, and I appreciate this article from Women's Health magazine. I'm working on getting a female host so that she could actually better speak to the female experience. But right now, all you're dealing with is me. Sorry about that, but we'll get better. This article was published February 2025, and that year marked the 20th anniversary of the gender orgasm gap entering public discourse, as a growing body of research points to the potential for cannabis as a catalyst for climax. Women's Health magazine asks if this is the year that women will finally come first. It's a great pun, great writing, and then there's like a hand holding the sheets, like gripping the sheets, like it looks like you're having a climax. This is great writing by Women's Health. Now, before we get into the scientific article, I want to talk about quickly the differences between men and women. Men typically use cannabis more frequently and in higher quantities than women, with higher rates of dependency. However, women tend to escalate faster from initial use to addiction and experience more severe withdrawal symptoms. While men prefer smoking, women increasingly use edibles and topicals, often for anxiety and stress. So the number's growing. The female younger demographic is growing as more people stop drinking and go a little bit more health-centric. So with that said, ladies, ooh, it's a lady. You remember that skit, The Ladies' Man with Tim Meadows on Saturday Night Live? Gosh, that was a great one. Man, we got all the good stuff back in the day. So this one's go check those out. Go to YouTube and check out Ladies' Man skits. That's great. So ladies, surprise, a 2019 study published in the journal Sexual Medicine finding that women who used cannabis before sex were twice as likely to report satisfactory orgasms, and a 2023 paper in the Journal of Cannabis Research showed that 70% of users experienced increased orgasm intensity. Last year, Connecticut became the first U.S. state to approve cannabis for treating female orgasm difficulty disorder, which is a real scientific thing, also known as anorgasmia, which is defined as delayed, infrequent, or absent orgasms. It's a real thing. Let's talk about what happens to the body during an orgasm and why it's so important, why I'm focusing on this. It's not just all for fun and games and, your desires and all that kind of stuff, which, sure, go ahead, have fun. But this is actually about physical and mental health. The gender orgasm gap is massive, and in 2005, a study showed that out of 833 participants, 91% of men achieved orgasm compared with 39% of women. A YouGov poll in 2022 said the same thing. 61% of men, but only 30% of women said they climaxed every time they had sex. The gap appeared wider in a 2023 survey, which 15% of UK women reported having never orgasmed alone or with a partner. That's wild to consider. Maybe that's why people have anger issues or stress, or they just get really frustrated and tense and tight and can't be present. But we'll get into that science because that is what is in this article. Spoiler alert. The orgasm delivers multiple benefits to mental and physical health. Describing the perks from the mix of feel-good brain chemicals released such as dopamine, oxytocin, and serotonin, as well as raised levels of estrogen and reduced cortisol levels. alongside boosted mood, bolstered immunity, enhanced sleep, and glowy skin, the orgasm can, research suggests, ease menstrual pain. There's also evidence of benefits such as improved memory and problem-solving skills. Now, it's also been released that cannabis can also ease menstrual pain, so this goes side by side with that as well. But there are clear benefits to orgasming, climaxing, whatever you want to call it, for men and for women. And if women are only 19 to 30% experiencing this mental health and physical health benefit, then we have a lot of room to grow. So how can cannabis enhance an orgasm? Among those who experienced challenges achieving climax, 67% stated that cannabis improved orgasm satisfaction, while 71% said that it made reaching orgasm easier. So overall, net positive. There are some theories as to why the drug may help. Women have told during the research that their mental walls go down and helps them be more fully present and more comfortable in their body too. The most likely explanation is the altered state of consciousness theory, in which cannabis encourages us to surrender into our bodies. This is believed to be particularly helpful for women with a history of abuse or where their alarm bells are going off during sex. They're staying in the prefrontal cortex, which doesn't help us feel into our bodies. So what they're talking about is a lot of people, because of their past, disassociate, or they're not as fully comfortable with sex as they could be. And so cannabis helps them ease the tension and release and become more fully present and aware of what's around you. Then there's the absorbed state of consciousness theory, the idea that women need to be in an absorbed state to orgasm. The dishabituation theory, which posits that the drug prevents cognitive distraction, and the amygdala reduction theory, which suggests that the drug reduces activity in the brain's amygdala, the almond-shaped region that processes feelings such as anxiety and fear. But all these theories are just that, theories. The research we've done so far has been observational. There haven't been clinical trials yet, which is referring to the kind of study that's considered the gold standard within research due to restrictions from the government. But since they have rescheduled cannabis to Schedule 3, saying it has medical benefits, like we've said before, you're going to see hundreds of thousands and millions of dollars doled out to states that have medical programs or that are expanding their medical programs. And they're going to say, hey, we need to do research to make sure that we can medical expand it and legalize it. And then the government's going to say, here's some money, go do research. Well, we already know it. We already know the answers. We already know a lot of the research, so there's money laundering. Anyway, I digress. I don't want to do it. This is about, let's focus. Back to the article. While research into the link between cannabis and sexual pleasure began more than a half century ago, there's an evidence-based book called The Sexual Power of Marijuana, published in 1970, and the progress since has been as substantial as a puff of smoke. There's been nothing, basically. It's nothing till now. But why there's still an issue, but whether cannabis is the holy grail to climax is almost kind of besides the point. It's about prioritizing the female pleasure during this experience. The fact that science is finally being put into policy is kind of a big breakthrough. It's giving women some hope. Since speaking publicly about people's experience, they've had many women write about the same issue, including those who have never experienced an orgasm, who have lost the ability to do so over time. But the published paper called The Assessment of the Effect of Cannabis Use Before Partnered Sex on Women with and Without Orgasm Difficulty. Conclusion: cannabis-related treatment appears to provide benefit to women who have female orgasm difficulties or dysfunction. I'll say it again. Cannabis-related treatment appears to provide benefit to women who have female orgasm difficulties or dysfunction. That is from the National Library of Medicine in PubMed Central. Also, the relationship between marijuana use prior to sex and sexual function in women. A different article, but very similar. This one's now scientific research on the effects of marijuana on sexual functioning in women, including libido, arousal, orgasm, and satisfaction, is limited. So this is to expand upon that. So the conclusion is cannabis appears to improve satisfaction with orgasm. Better understanding of the role of the endocannabinoid system in women is important because there's a paucity of literature and it could help lead to development of treatments for female sexual dysfunction. So I know now a lot of people, after working in a dispensary, you would see a lot of 30 or 40 or 50-year-old women coming in asking for topicals for their skin. They help. CBD is great. I started seeing more pleasure products such as like oils or things like suppositories or pills that have like THC or CBD in them that supposedly makes your body more sensitive. I don't know any of the science behind those. I don't know if they're tested, etc. Those are individual products. But at large, those are coming out. So as cannabis expands into the medical field and even the leisure recreational field, this is going to be more prevalent. I know a lot of people, couples, married couples, partnered couples, that don't drink, that they just like to sit with each other, smoke a joint, put on some music, and make out and have some fun with each other because they're more present, they're more sensitive, and they're listening to each other. Now, what's wrong with that? Then that is a way, as opposed to just drinking, when you black out and neither one of you remembers what happens and you wake up and you're like, are we a couple? I guess so. Why not? And then that just turns toxic because you don't really know each other. But these are the issues and the medical articles that are going to be highlighted and needed to be highlighted and not buried in the news because there is a lot of stuff going on, understandably so. But this one was for the ladies. This video was for the ladies. This article is for the ladies. And I hope to have a female host part-time to address these issues so that she can speak more to the female experience. And if you do want to see some discussions with a badass female grower, connoisseur, and just knows everything about cannabis, check out our videos we've done with AC Moon. She's brilliant, and she has a plethora of knowledge for you. Pick her brain. Also plan on having her back soon. I will pin all of the links to all these articles down in the description. And please share this with your friends that are females, your girlfriends, your wives. And I'm not a doctor, and I'm not telling you to smoke weed or consume cannabis. I'm telling you to look into science of how to better your physical and mental health. And overall, that's what this channel is about. Improving physical and mental health, specifically through the cannabis angle. Now, thanks again for being here. I appreciate you. Go check out those Ladies Man skits. Share the articles with your friends. Appreciate you being here. And until next time, stay blessed. And don't forget to tip your bud tenders.
Mm.